Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Hey, I have my sound going. Let me close that. So today, Friday, things are still looking pretty darn good. But I do have something very interesting to show you from Bloomberg strategist Mike McGlone, who has been a big Bitcoin bull over the years because he concentrates on what I do, fundamentals and on-chain metrics. And he has posted something that's very, very, very interesting. Not only about Bitcoin, more likely to hit 60,000 than 20,000, but also he has some comments about this whole thing with China and their digital yuan and miners being forced out. So let's talk about that and talk about other things that's going on in the world of crypto. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest articles on CryptosRUs.com. All right, so let's get started. I did want to announce something. I think from now on, Friday nights, I will not be streaming. And here's the reason. Friday nights are usually the lowest view time because most people are getting off work, having good dinner, spending time with their family. So, and that's what I want to do too. So I think going forward, the only day I'm not going to be streaming twice a day will be Friday night. So probably not tonight. Just to let you guys know, unless something big is going on, then an exception. But just to warn you guys, all right? So let's change my screen here. All right, so Bitcoin is still at 32,140. So roughly around the same point yesterday, still hovering above 32,000, which is very positive. That was actually a previous support turned resistance, now turned support. So we'll see. There's a couple milestones coming up. There's one at 34 something, which is the 50 MA on the daily. There's also 36, 41. So we still have some room to go in terms of some of these resistances that we need to break before we head back up to $60,000. But we are moving in the right direction, right? So looking at the fear index, didn't really change. Still around 23. There's still a lot of fear. People are still waiting for some kind of big move. People are still anticipating a big move downwards, which is why there's still a lot of people on the sidelines. I've mentioned about billions upon billions of dollars sitting on the sidelines, also in stable coins. There's a lot of people in institutions and whales that are looking to jump in at the right moment, and this could be the right moment. So I've been showing you guys this clump of fear on the fear index. This is a pretty good indication that something is about to happen, right? And Mike McGlone thinks that, Bitcoin is also ready to move higher, and it's more likely for Bitcoin to hit 60,000, which back is to its previous highs, than head down to 20,000, which is what a lot of chartists, a lot of TA people are claiming that's going to do. In fact, a lot of them are claiming it's going to go below 20,000. In fact, hit something like 10 to 14,000. But we have someone within Bloomberg's group that disagrees. And this is Mike McGlone. And we have chatted over email for quite some time. And he always publishes these papers, basically, periodically, talking about fundamental stuff, bigger picture type of things, not just based on Bitcoin, but based on the dollar, based on just economic things that's going on, right? So he did post something recently, or he emailed something recently, and I just took a snippet of one of the points that he made, which is a reversion towards $60,000. All right, so Bitcoin is likely to revert towards 60,000 resistance versus 20,000 support. And why is that? If its history of recovering from similar to cold conditions are any guide, our graphic depicts the benchmark crypto akin to the 2018 to 2019 consolidation period of around $4,000. Yes, okay. Just before the launch to 2019 peak about $14,000. Okay. The more technical trading oriented bears seem to be proliferate when Bitcoin sustains at about 30% threshold below its 20-week moving average, allowing the buy and hold types time to accumulate. This is what I've been saying, right? Accumulating. But Mike, he made this fancy chart for you guys to look at. You can see the 20-week moving average, and Mike talked about 30% below the 20-week average. And you could see that, there's been certain periods where this has happened before, okay? 2018, 2019, of course, 2020. So these were during, bottom periods, right? The one that pushed Bitcoin to 3,000 and then the one that pushed Bitcoin to 3,800. And you could see that, this is looking very similar to right now because Bitcoin is also below, about 30% below its 20-week moving average. So if history is any indication of the future, this is what Michael is betting on, or Mike is betting on, that we're more likely to go up from here, that this is a bottom indicator. We're more likely to start heading up from here, right, and heads towards 60,000 than heading downwards towards 20 and below. Very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed, right? So I do like Mike. Like I said, I talked to him periodically over the last few years, and I would like to get him onto the show and just have a good interview and talk about everything that he sees, because in his world, he lives and breathes it. He lives and breathes all these metrics, fundamental factors, and analyzing and looking at everything else that's going on around the world. Now, I did mention he also talked about China, which is very interesting because basically he's claiming that China is making a big mistake with Bitcoin and the US dollar, right? So look at this. While China's crackdown had impact on Bitcoin's price as it hovers above 30K on 23rd June, fundamentals has improved vastly to 2018 due to institutional FOMO. Bitcoin should recover to 50,000 by the end of the year. Okay, that was not it. But here we go. China's rejection of open source software, crypto assets may be a plateau in the country's economic ascent, we believe, while extolling the value of the US dollar and Bitcoin. Interesting stuff. All right. So there's that. Okay, you may be thinking, well, should we trust Mike? Should we trust Bloomberg? Well, it makes a whole lot of sense, right? I think ultimately this quote right here is something that I believe in. Why 2021 is different than all other years before it, and why we have this temporary setback, but why I think we're going to continue forward is because we have so much buying that's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of buying that already happened, but there's more that's coming, and the fundamentals of Bitcoin and crypto has never been better in its 12-year existence. So I'm very, very bullish. You guys know that. I'm very, very bullish on Bitcoin and crypto, and I think it will continue. And later this year, we will see that recovery back up to 60,000 and beyond. That is my belief and opinion. All right. So there's that. What else is there? Anything else to talk about today? Well, Jack Dorsey can't stop talking about Bitcoin. I mean, he is just all in, except this is not what he looks like now. Jack looks very, very different than his clean-cut, days. But anyways, Jack, he has claimed before, if he wasn't working on Square or Twitter, he would be working on Bitcoin in some capacity. And now he says Bitcoin is going to be the future of Twitter too. Although he hasn't really said what, but it's probably more like tipping features or something like that. I mean, Elon put Jack on the spot saying that he should just demand that all advertisers pay in Bitcoin only. He didn't commit to that, although he's probably looking into it or at least allowing that to be an option. We'll see. we'll see. But Jack is very, very, I know a lot of people still does not trust Jack or does not like him based on some of the censorship stuff he has done. But Jack really does seem like he is a big Bitcoin bull, and he wants to drive adoption and push it forward. And he's already doing so with Square, and now it looks like he wants to do something with Twitter too. So that's pretty positive. Although, yesterday I covered this. You know how he tweeted, hashtag ETH and then the Ethiopian flag? So I said this probably had nothing to do with Ethereum. It's just he was trying to, cut it in half, I guess, right? To do something fancy to draw attention or something like that. And Vitalik did not like that. Look at Vitalik's answer. Why does hashtag ETH now show the flag of Ethiopia? This is not funny. So Vitalik did not appreciate the humor or or the tweet at all. But anyways, yeah. So I think this has more to do with just supporting Ethiopia than anything. Whether or not they're going to really embrace Bitcoin and Ethereum, who knows? We know Ethiopia does have something big with Cardano, and we'll see if that, that develops outside their digital ID services. Maybe it's going to develop into something much more than that. That is what Cardano and Charles wants to see, and we'll see if that's going to happen. Big Coast says, George, we got a petition going for Voyager and Steve to talk to you. Hey, you know what? After my stream yesterday, Steve did email me back, and he's like, let's talk next week. So I'm hoping to get him on next week sometime in at night during my 8:30 stream. So we'll see what he responds, and we'll have a good chat. I'll have some good questions for him. I think a lot of people really love using the Voyager app, right? And earning interest through Voyager. So I'll have a good discussion with Steve if we get that set up for next week. If not next week, sometime in the future. But hopefully we can get that sooner than later. BT Bowmana, I think. Thank you for that. All right. Few other things. Number one is Paxos. Paxos is really fighting back right now. I guess when it comes to stablecoins, everyone thinks about USDT and then USDC, Tether, and Circle. But not a whole lot of people talk about Paxos, even though Paxos is widely available too among many exchanges. And Paxos is the company that is behind BUSD, Binance's stablecoin, and they're behind Gemini's stablecoin, GUSD. So in addition to just Paxos itself, there is Gemini and Binance's stablecoins. But anyways, Paxos is fighting back because recently there's a lot of talk about regulating stablecoins, right? This has a lot of people fearful. Janet Yellen and others are claiming that stablecoins need to be regulated and looked at. So Paxos voluntarily came out with their own numbers and also wrote this big thing about how, Circle claims to be Circle claims to be like the top dog that is fully regulated and stuff like that. But Dan, who is the general counsel and chief compliance officer of Paxos, says that's not true. In fact, only Paxos stablecoins are truly regulated right now, and their backings is a lot more secure than even compared to Circle's USDC. So according to Dan, the reason why they're regulated, first of all, he comes from his background is with regulations and stuff like that. So he actually says that, they are actually a trust. They are a trust, and they have been approved by the New York Financial something. I forgot what exactly. Here we go. Yeah, New York State Department of Financial Services, NYDFS. So Paxos and Gemini are both trust companies regulated by NYDFS. And trusts are required to have their products and services approved and supervised by the NYDFS. So PAX, BUSD, and GUSD are expressly approved by, again, NYDFS. So that's interesting that they are the only company and their stablecoins are the only ones that's approved and supervised by the New York State Department of Financial Services. And getting to this, getting to what their reserves are backed by, if you look at Paxos, 96% is backed by cash and cash equivalents, and 4% of U.S. Treasury bills, which is the most stable, I guess, asset outside of cash. So that's almost 100% in cash. When compared to, say, USDC reserves, their USDC is, or Circle's USDC is backed by 61% about cash, which is pretty good, but 13% in CDs, and there's some 9% commercial paper and so forth. Compared to Tether, which almost has zero cash, 2.9% cash and 2.2% in treasury bills, but almost 50% in commercial paper and 18% in fiduciary deposits and several other things. So obviously, a lot of people are fearful of Tether because they really have very little cash backing USDT. USDC is better at 61%, but Paxos is at 96%. Very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. All right, I just thought I'd just show that because there's a lot of talk about stable coins and so forth, right? So it does seem like Paxos is the most trustworthy one out there that is regulated in some capacity right now. So looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. And obviously this helps Binance's USD because it's issued by and controlled by Paxos, and also Gemini's USD, which isn't as widely available these days. So okay. Rambled on too much about that. India Central Bank unveils plan to launch digital currency in phases. We know India is still back and forth, whether or not exchanges are allowed to operate, whether they're allowed to have bank accounts. Banking services to these crypto exchanges. I don't know. It just goes back and forth every day. But it does seem like they are following footsteps of everyone else and coming out with their CBDC in the near future. And lastly, I don't know if any of you guys are from South Africa, but I saw this. Recently there's this exchange called AfriCrypt, and supposedly the two founders, the two brothers, young brothers, just like pulled the biggest exit scam ever in history, and supposedly they fled with $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. So according to Wall Street Journal, they have fled to a secret location in some remote island where they bought citizenships, and they're claiming that they did so because there was organized crime syndicates coming after them, and they were forced to flee, and they never had $2.5 billion in Bitcoin, and but there was like 4 million, and it's gone missing. So accounting, books, everything is just really, really off right now. So again, all these exchanges, you got to be careful, right? I think most of us have heard of like Binance and of course Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, and several others like KuCoin and Voyager and stuff like that. But there's a lot just around the world that may seem like they're legit, but you got to really be careful because at any given time they can just close doors and just take all the funds with them. So be careful. If you truly want to protect yourself, then of course, pull out your crypto and put into a hardware wallet or a non-custodial wallet on your phone. That way you don't have to worry about any of this. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Overall, things are still looking pretty darn good. So let's do some Q&A. I'm scrolling up. Hellcat, glad to see you're back. Haven't seen you for a while. Rich man, you're a mod. You can't be saying stuff like that, man. All right, scrolling down. Voyager, a lot of people love Voyager, so that's good to see. Thanks for always responding, Bitco says. No problem, that's what I try to do. BJ says, new to crypto, any tips you have for me? The biggest tip I could give you is to have patience. It's easier said than done. Patience. Really, the number one thing you need to have is patience. All right. Rich says, if U.S. makes a deflationary coin, we'll get wrecked. That's the one thing Sailor have not accounted for. The U.S. will not make a deflationary coin. They'll never do that. Okay, that's not what fiat is about. That's not what digital dollars is about. They're not going to make it deflationary, Rich. I'm still scrolling down. Sorry, I'm playing catch up. DPR token is up 40%. Next launch of the miner. I don't even know what DPR is. Deeper network. Okay. Good for you. Good for the project. 1 billion market cap. And what are they all about? Creating a decentralized VPN, right? Decentralized internet, decentralized VPN, something like that, I remember. Yeah. Decentralized VPN. Trying to create a new, secure, and private, fair internet for everyone. I like the idea. I like the vision. I just don't know if it's realistic. I don't know how many people. I mean, very little people on the whole planet is into crypto, right? So the expectation of getting like all these people to run a miner, to power a new decentralized internet, it's very encompassing. It's going to take many, many, many years before that happens. But it could. Let's see if it, I guess you have to start somewhere, right? Hey, George, not sure if you know, Happy has built a platform with Solana and they're working on a partnership with Matic. Your thoughts? I mean, that all sounds good, but do you know what Happy is about? See, I feel like people... no offense to you, but I feel like people look at that and they're like, oh, that's fantastic. But what is Happy doing? Do you know what they're doing? They're an oracle for security breaches. So you have to program like whether or not you detect suspicious behavior, and if somehow you get hacked or there's a vulnerability, you see all this funds being exited, right, being withdrawn, then it will warn you. Right, so that's what it's all about. So I think the concept is great, but you still have to use it appropriately. There's other oracles I believe you could program the same thing, but I think a lot of people, they do have a large fan base, which is helping, which is why a lot of people ask about them all the time. I'm kind of neutral on them. I've been neutral on them for quite some time because I think that the idea itself is not something that I say, wow, that's a really good idea. I mean, I just feel like others can play catch up. Andrew, that's the first question you asked. That's not about the Lotus Emira. But yeah, I'm probably going to skip the stream tonight. How did I get into crypto? 2013. I was just browsing and I saw, hey, Bitcoin hit a new high. I'm like, what's Bitcoin? And then I found out how you mine Bitcoin and what it's all about. I'm like, it's the best thing ever. It's like creating your own money tree, a digital money tree, right? So I got in hard, but I didn't truly understand what it was. I just thought it was a quick, money grab, basically. I wanted to spin up all these miners, mine a whole bunch, and make a whole bunch of money. I didn't really understand why Bitcoin was created and why you should hold those. So when things started coming down in 2014, I'm like, I'm out of here. This bubble has burst. And it wasn't until back into 2017 I realized, well, it came back. I should have held on all those years, right? And then I really started learning about it, and that's why I've been bullish ever since. Robert, appreciate that. Did Alex ask me for no? No, I don't even know who Alex is. I saw the Twitter debacle, but I have no idea who he is. I've never talked to him in my life. What's your expectation for this week? Past few weeks, I think I remember Saturdays being pretty good, and then Sunday it comes down, or vice versa, one of the two, right? I think we see more of the same. Not much happening this weekend. Probably just going sideways. Any news on AMP and why it's pumping today? I didn't see anything. Let's see. 15%? I mean, if you look at it, go back 30 days, right? It has been very, very oversold. So, could just be a good recovery day. That's really it. I do like AMP quite a bit, and I think they're going to continue to do well. What are the chances the government's just banning crypto? Little to none. They will try to possibly ban, say, stable coins, because that competes with CBDCs if they're not regulated. But, the governments right now, they're looking for ways to make money, okay? All this printing and all this inflation, they're trying to collect that back, even though it's impossible. You just can't. But they're going to try, right? So I think the biggest concern for governments is how do we tax crypto and crypto gains? I think that's their number one priority. Not banning it unless they really deem like it's a threat to the USD or the yuan or anything, the euro, right? But in terms of Bitcoin and Ethereum and others, they want to tax it. Johnny, what would it take for your convictions to weaken? Not really, nothing. Hey, if tomorrow Bitcoin crashed down to 20,000 and then Sunday it crashed down to 10,000, is that going to change my conviction and say, oh, I'm going to panic sell at 10,000? No, nothing's going to change my conviction. Every day I spend a good amount of time looking at what should I invest my money in, right? Because I'm always questioning myself, is crypto the best investment out there? So I look at other things like equities, obviously stocks, which come and go. And right now it's so high. I do not dare to put any money into stocks right now. And then there's other things like you could put into gold and, other commodities like silver and copper as a hedge, right? But I look at a past 10 years, 12-year performance and has not moved at all. None. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So there's other things that I do enjoy, like basketball cards, and I've been putting a little bit more money into it, right? But basketball cards are not as liquid. If you wanted to buy or sell, especially the expensive cards, take some time, right? It's not like crypto where you could just move money in and out at any given second. So there's that. So I'm going to limit what I have, but I still love basketball cards, and over time, I think it's going to grow, right? But in terms of Bitcoin and crypto, it's just the best option, right? And I truly believe Bitcoin will go much higher because of scarcity factor, because of all the fundamentals getting better, right? So my convictions on being bullish for Bitcoin will never end. Short term, price action could go down. It goes down to 10,000 tomorrow. What I'm going to do is put a ton, okay, of fiat into Bitcoin. That's what I'm going to do. The more it falls, the more I'm going to buy. So to answer your question, Johnny, my conviction will never change on Bitcoin and crypto. NFT token WaxP, I have covered it before. And it's a promising marketplace for NFT stuff and games, backed by Mike Novogratz. So I like them. I feel like they're pretty undervalued when it comes to NFTs. Crypto. All right, I gotta scroll down. Crypto Cafe, appreciate it. Closest competitor, it's GRT, CQT. They're strong backers. Covalent query token. Where they at? Unify API, bring visibility to billions of blockchain. Yeah, like what you said. Just like the graph. And they do support quite a lot of chains already. You say they have good backers. Who's their good backers? Early backers. Coinbase Ventures and Binance. Alameda. CoinGecko. Yeah, you're right. It does seem like they have strong backers. You know, competing with Graph, I think that's still the Graph, even though it's a dominant API provider for blockchains, but obviously they're not as dominant as, say, Chainlink. This could be a good one. Could be a good one. So put this in the maybe pile. Not bad. Not bad. Good find, John. Secret code for giveaway. I can't give that, Dwayne. I already gave it out. I only give one per month. Okay, so it's gonna be 6-digit code. I gave out 2 already. I'll give out another one randomly in August, which is why you guys need to check. But there's another one, right? There's another one that I've been here. In case you guys don't know what I'm talking about. So, giveaway, end of the year giveaway, 5 ETH and 4,000 nulls. So if you go into it, a lot of entries just to visit all my social media and web pages and stuff like that. The video secret code, okay, this has been out for a while, 100 entries. So I've given this clue so many times. Half the people have gotten it, half the people have given up. They're overthinking it. The clue I give is about the best clue I could give without giving it away. It's really that simple, okay? So I'll show you guys my clue at the end of this video, but there is a 6-month secret code with 200 entries. This is the one where it's 6 digits. And if you missed out the previous 2, the only way to get them is to rewatch all of my videos going back to May. Then you may find the 2 digits. But those of you guys that are playing, I will give another one in August. So there you go. All right, scrolling down. Down. What else is there? Is it possible to get a 6x by December? Sure, anything's possible. I think a 3x, of course, is more likely, but I think Bitcoin would be at least above 100,000. But who knows? Tail end, FOMO, tail end, it could go up even higher. Did you see Jordan last night? I think he started a new trend. You can outperform him. I'll leave that to Jordan. Where does OTC supply come from? If rich people or exchanges selling to other rich people, is it because rich people or exchanges selling doesn't believe? It just comes from other rich people. That's really it. Entities that want to stay off the spot market. They could be miners. They could be, whales that got in very early. So it doesn't really matter. You could be an OTC supply. If you have 1 Bitcoin, you have 100 Bitcoins, you have 1,000 Bitcoins, you could sell directly to someone else. You're part of the OTC market then, right? OTC is just like kind of like a blanket. I think, in my opinion, it's like a blanket designation where it's like basically anyone that's doing any kind of business outside the exchanges. It's kind of like the OTC market. Brad Curtis, hey, appreciate it. I haven't caught a live show in a bit. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you. You gotta look at Axis Infinity. 1 ETH on a team of characters. Axis will yield the same monthly passive income as $200,000 real estate. Maybe that's why it's so hot. I do have to do a deeper dive on Axis because I know games get very viral. I know they get very, very viral, but Axis recently has been going up and up and up and up. And they're backed by Mark Cuban, but maybe what you said, basically the passive income you can own just from 1 ETH of characters, that seems substantial. So thanks for that. I'll check it out. And anyone else? You may want to check that out too. Pi Network. I don't know. I don't have much to say about Pi. I looked at it a few times. Wasn't very impressed by it. 1,000 into ETH or BTC at current prices. Well, you know what? I've been making this argument that ETH has held better during downturns and have gained better during upturns too. And you could see 24 hour, 7 day, 30 day, 90 day, 1 year, right? Based on this, I would say, yeah, ETH. If you had to pick one, I would say ETH, short term. Long term, anything above 3-5 years, you got to go with Bitcoin. But if you don't want to choose, which you shouldn't really, just choose one. Just split it, 50-50. 50-50 in both. Then you'll protect yourself. You used to mine in your basement in your early days. Did you stop? Yes, I stopped in 2014 because Litecoin and Bitcoin dropped to basically, it had an 86% drop, and that was when I first got into the market, and I didn't quite understand why I should hold. I should have held, but that's why I stopped. And plus, cooling is such a problem in a house. It doesn't matter how many ACs you have, it's not enough. So you really need to have adequate cooling. The best is some gigantic warehouse that could pump out hot air from the top and pump in cool air on the bottom, right? But if you have in your basement, it's just going to overheat, especially in the summer. I was doing it in the winter. Do you think it's a good idea to look at all the recent hacks? Do you think it's a good idea for Happy in terms of being adopted? Sure, but it really depends on the projects. Whether or not they want to use it and use it accurately, right? So it could get adopted, but most projects are not using it. If I'm not Jordan Friday nights, do I even exist? I don't know. It seems like you guys are really panicking about me not streaming at Friday nights. I think you guys will be fine. You'll be fine. If there's something big going on, I'll start streaming. But pay attention to my Twitter and YouTube posts. I'll let you guys know. All right, last two questions. Boson Protocol seems to be on an absolute tear. Become part of future commerce. Decentralized autonomous commerce. Investors, Packers, Animoca on some good exchanges, some good backers. Automate digital to physical redemptions, minimize arbitration, use NFT. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this. I actually do like this concept. I find NFTs right now, the missing piece to NFTs is that physical aspect, which many people still love, right? So if you come out with a one-of-one card or a shoe or a piece of art, it'll be awesome if you're able to redeem it. And it seems like that's what Boson Protocol is all about. So this chart looks insane. Looks pretty good. So something happened recently. They probably launched something within the last few days. So I like the concept. I like the concept quite a bit. So I'll do a deeper dive on that. But that's a pretty good project. EverDiscovered Library. Looks like it's on sale. The problem is no one is moving to Odyssey. People have claimed, hey, you should jump on Odyssey. I look at the crypto videos. There's no views on there. That's the problem with all these decentralized streaming platforms. I know people want to get all influencers get off there, but there's no views. There's not enough people on them, right? That's why it's so hard to compete with YouTube, because there's no other equivalent that is even remotely close to having the same user base. That's the problem. BNB was 10 cents and BTC was whatever, just DCA HODL, thank me later. Yes. All right, guys. That is it. Overall, Mike McGlone, you guys should follow him. He has some good stuff. But, he thinks that Bitcoin is more likely to go to 60K than 20K based on his analysis, his on-chain metrics. And I got to say, I don't think I disagree. I think Bitcoin has been stuck in here for quite some time. people got really fearful about this recent drop, but this recent drop was not deeper than the 28.8 that Bitcoin had, you know, maybe a month ago, right? So this did not make a new low, and Bitcoin is still holding strong in the 30s, right? Too much fear and panic going on, and I do think that Bitcoin is ready to break out someday. Could be tomorrow, could be next week, could be a few months, but it will. And the fundamentals support it, and I'm going to stay bullish no matter what, because I believe. And hopefully you guys do too. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to stream tonight. I'm going to start taking Friday nights off, low volume in terms of views, in terms of, you know, because people want to take some time for themselves, and I do too, so I think I'm not going to stream tonight. But if I don't, then you know what? You guys can check me out tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, I forgot. I got to show you guys a clue. Clue to the giveaway. Here we go. Okay, here's the clue. The biggest clue I could give you. The 100 entry. Right here.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.